Hi, my name's Judith and I'm the owner of ETA Consultancy Services, and I very luckily spend my time with employers who are looking to take on apprentices, whether that be the first time in a brand new apprentice, or whether it be upskilling existing members of staff, or people that have had apprentices for many years and just want to continue building that future-proofing their businesses. I also spend my time talking in schools and supporting learners that have maybe left school, come out of college or come out of university, and are also trying to find employment and quite often are looking to maybe do higher level apprenticeships. When we go into schools and we talk to parents, lots of myths around apprenticeships. What is an apprenticeship? Maybe they've got some views that are maybe a little bit outdated. Maybe they've never ventured into the world of apprenticeships and they don't really understand them, or maybe they've just got a few myths that they've heard things that aren't necessarily accurate. So we spend our time talking to employers and hopefully educating them, bringing them up to speed on what apprenticeship standards look like now, and how that can be a huge benefit to their business, and all the benefits that brings, not only for the apprentice but say for future proofing the business for years to come. Apprenticeships can start from a level 2 and right up to a level 8 master's degree, and the level that the employer and the apprentice kind of dictate and choose the level that they feel is appropriate, together with the training provider. So if you imagine if you were going straight from school to college, you wouldn't bypass college and go straight to university at 16. There would be that A-level process in between, or that college 2 years, and the apprenticeships would be the same. If you imagine you're going into the workplace, you don't go straight in at management level. If you're fresh out of school or college, there's some steps that you would work towards to build up. So the beauty about the apprenticeship route is that you have got that whole progression pathway in front of you, and it can be done at your pace, and it can be done over many, many years. We've got lots of people at the moment that we are upskilling in companies that are, well into their 40s and older. I think our oldest apprentice a little while ago was 62 years old. So you're never too old to learn, and you're never too old to upskill, and maybe transferring your job within a company. Maybe you've done something for a long time and you fancy a change, and employers can use the apprenticeship funding to their advantage, to upskill existing members of staff into maybe a brand new role. So you keep that member of staff, keep them fresh, keep them motivated, but maybe just move them into another role. So it's important about lifelong learning and making sure that we're pitching it at the right level for people. When we talk about apprenticeships, it's not about, am I clever enough? Can I not get into uni, or I don't like school? It's about really talking to the learner to understand, how do they engage with their learning? How do they like to learn? Are they somebody that, enjoys sitting in front of a teacher every day and having homework? Or are they somebody that maybe enjoys the learning but doesn't necessarily like that classroom all the time? And also, maybe someone that has a very set view of what they want to do. If they're wanting to be work in the world of science, or work in the world of engineering, or work in a business environment, are there some companies out there that they've got their eye on that specifically that they would like to apply for, and maybe that apprenticeship route would be the better route for them. So really, when we talk to parents, it's not about, are they clever enough? So it's about how do they engage with that learning, and what route is best for them. So there's no right or wrong, but it's what's going to be right for you. And it's also important to remember, you're never stuck with anything forever. So if you do go to college, if it's not right for you, there's other options available. Or if you finish college and you decide, actually, I don't think I want to go to uni, then maybe the apprenticeship route would be more appealing, to do the same degree apprenticeship qualification. So it's not about what's right or wrong. It's about really listening to the learner and understanding, what's going to get them out of bed in the morning, what's going to make them want to learn, what's going to make them want to achieve those next qualifications and those next steps on the career ladder. Apprenticeships, again, lots of myths about apprenticeships. A lot of people think it's non-academic, that it's just all practical. There are lots of jobs where the practical side of the job is a major part, but there isn't one single apprenticeship out there that doesn't involve academia. You know, every apprenticeship involves creating a portfolio of evidence. There are exams, there are assignments that need to be submitted. So exactly the same as if you were going to college or if you were going to university, the apprenticeship is no different. So you will still study with your provider and have all the academia that goes along with it, but you are also working full time, and that study will be factored into your full-time role. So the diagram that I'm just showing at the moment just gives you an idea of just a very basic sort of floor plan of, you know, the initial assessments that will be done to determine the level of apprenticeship that you're going to go on. Your prior learning will all be taken into consideration, and then let's say it's about settling into that job role, working your way through all of the academia that's required in the practical side, and then completing, you know, hopefully successfully completing that apprenticeship, going on to the endpoint assessment, and then say hopefully getting that qualification at the end of it. And that process runs really smoothly with all providers and all companies. But it just gives you an idea of the expectations along the way. If the learners haven't achieved their maths and English at the level 4, 5 and above, or the old-fashioned C grade and above, then there is an opportunity to retake those functional skills. So if you haven't got the qualifications at that level, or you've got them and maybe would like to improve on what you had, then there is an opportunity to embed that into part of your apprenticeship. So for a lot of learners, that's especially maybe older learners that didn't do so well many years ago, they might want to go back and revisit those qualifications. So lots of opportunities to continue to upskill throughout your career. In terms of looking what employers are looking for, again, when I go into schools, quite often I will be taught, you know, if I talk to people about apprenticeships, I'll be given maybe a class of students that are maybe a little bit naughty, that maybe haven't been achieving so well, and the teachers kind of feel maybe that's the better route for them. That's fantastic, but you know, we want to talk to all students and just make sure that they get the same advice and guidance on every opportunity that's available. And again, it's about looking at what's right for them, not what somebody else thinks is right for them. So it's not, you know, if all of your family have been to university, the expectation is that they will go to university. Maybe they don't want to go to uni, or maybe no one's been to uni and, you know, you want your son and daughter to be the first person to go to university. But, you know, again, is it right for them? So it's asking those questions about their career, about their progression, where do they see themselves and how do they think they can get there? And again, they can still achieve their degree through the apprenticeship route, the same as they would do if they'd done the traditional uni route. So again, it's just like, how do you get to that same point, making those decisions? Employers as well, competition for degree level apprenticeships particularly is fierce in the market. Since COVID, it's picked up dramatically, and most of the large companies out there will be taking apprenticeships or have taken apprenticeships for many years. A lot of the big names, the BBC, Google, Pricewaterhouse, Coca-Cola, CGI, all of those companies have taken apprenticeships very successfully for many years. And we are starting to see a shift from more companies taking more apprentices and particularly degree level apprenticeships than taking graduates. So whereas before a company might have taken 20 graduates a year, now we're seeing they take 10 graduates and maybe 10 higher level apprentices. And the success rates are starting to look very positive for those companies. They're finding that candidates that do the apprenticeship route tend to stay put longer. They tend to be more embedded into the company. They don't flit around so much. So employers are starting to see that, you know, for value for money and for long-term business planning, having those apprentices in maybe from, you know, the bottom line working up can be very fruitful for those companies. So it's worth exploring if you're considering, do I look at a degree level apprenticeship with a company, or do I wait to see if I can get on their graduate program? Make sure you check their websites. Are they still taking graduates? You know, is this something that they're still looking at favourably, or are they moving much more towards taking apprentices? And competition, as I've said, is fierce. You're finding that maybe for some of the big names, you can get 5,000 to 10,000 people applying. So, you know, how amazing would it be if your son or daughter was the one that got the job and you've beat off 5,000 other applicants? So I think it's, you know, it's testament to their bravery, you know, how amazing that you just stand there with a few qualifications from school, and yet you can beat all that competition. So it's, you know, no mean feat to sit in front of an employer to say, here I am, I've got a few GCSEs, but what I do have is passion and motivation for this job role, please employ me. And then once they've got the foot in the door, hopefully the world is their oyster and they will progress beautifully within those companies. In terms of application, obviously you've got all the companies that you can apply through, but in my experience, I've worked in apprenticeships now for about 37 years. I have always encouraged students, if there is a company they like, if there is a company they like to work at, contact them. You know, no company is ever upset if you send them an email and a nice letter saying, I'd really like to work at your company and I'd like to be an apprentice if you're offering it. I used to always keep those CVs on file, and if a member of staff left or I'm not expecting someone to go or people moved on, I've always got a whole bank of people that have applied and asked if I would, you know, employ them through an apprenticeship or through other work. So it's a great way of companies keeping your details if you do ask them. But don't wait for those apprenticeships always to be advertised. We encourage all students to get in there early, potentially almost a year before they're due to leave school, start making contact. End of year 10, beginning of year 11, perfect to start, you know, contacting those companies, telling them that you're leaving school next year and you're looking for an apprenticeship. Get in there first and let them know that you're keen. Offer your services to do work experience, to go and maybe doing a bit of job shadowing. You know, can you come and find out what it's like to work in their company? Most companies will open their doors gladly and be really excited and proud that you've contacted them. So the worst case scenario, they won't respond to you, but say that you move on to other companies if that's the case. Sending your CV, sending a personal statement, you know, all of those things fantastic for employers to get sight of early. And if they haven't opened their doors to the apprenticeships, at least they will also let you know when that's going to happen. A lot of big employers now will start interviewing for their apprentices in January, February, ready for September starts. So don't wait till you've left school and then apply. Most of those apprenticeships would have been filled very early in the year. So it's really important to get ahead of the game and to start planning. Employers will get everything sorted, employment contracts, the training providers supporting the employer will get all the logistics sorted for the apprenticeship. So you don't have to do any work in that area. The main thing you've got to do is really, you know, get in there, secure that job role, and then everything else is done for you. So parents, you don't need to worry, you know, all of that is taken care of by the providers that will be supporting, and we can hold their hand through that process if necessary. Again, we talk to students, you know, when you're applying for these jobs, what career progression have they got? You know, what would that job role look like in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? You know, and a lot of the larger companies will have a very set progression route, maybe from level 3, 4, 5, right through to 8, so that you can see that there's a big future ahead of you in this company. Or some company students might be happier in a smaller company. Maybe not so many people, something that, you know, maybe a smaller family business that, again, they can really embed into that business and be much more comfortable in a smaller environment. So again, it all goes back to what's right for that learner. You know, where are they best going to fit in? Just put some examples of some big companies that are always recruiting for apprentices, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. The apprenticeship links we put on here are for the big main ones, really. We always recommend you get yourself set up on the government site for apprenticeships. There is a live job site on there, which you can set yourself up to find what's available in your area. So you can tell it where you're looking, what radius you're looking for, what job you're looking for. And if anything comes up, it will send you an email alert. Amazing Apprenticeships, exactly what it says on the tin, it is an amazing website, huge amount of information and resources to help learners if they're looking for that apprenticeship journey. very easy to navigate, and again they have a live job site on there, so fantastic to to start searching and again get in there early and start to see what's happening in that job market. I always say to learners, if you're in year 10, start looking to see what's around, when are those companies advertising their job roles, so that when you get to year 11, you kind of know when those jobs are going to come up again, and you're ahead of the game and you've started to plan, and they can get in there early and when they open the doors for their applications. And the Institute of Apprenticeships, again for parents, fantastic site to go on. It gives you a list of every single apprenticeship that's available and what's coming, so you can see what's new and what's good. We are fantastic in this country at writing apprenticeship standards. We're one of the world leaders in this area, and we're also very open to developing standards in industries that need it. So if we've got employers that say, there's a gap, we can't find the training that we need, if there's enough demand out there, apprenticeship standards can be written, and as quickly as maybe a year to 18 months, those apprenticeship standards can be ready to be delivered. And we're finding that with lots of degree apprenticeships now. Lots of universities can offer you both routes. But there are lots of specialised areas that we're now starting to see come on board that we've never seen before. A few years ago, the legal path route was opened up with all apprenticeship covering, which was fantastic. So you can become a solicitor through the apprenticeship route now. We're seeing a lot of nursing qualifications, midwifery, all going back into apprenticeships. Not so much full-time uni anymore, and there are rumours that things like doctors and dentists, again, there could be a shift into that area as well, going back into the more traditional way of training, which has always worked. We moved away from, but I think that those decisions have been made that some things cannot be taught through paper, and so we need to get back to doing the job and learning on the job at the same time. So very exciting world to be in, but definitely would recommend using all of these sites all the time, and also linking on social media to companies that you would like to follow or that you would like to work in. See what they're advertising, see what they're presenting. Is it aligned to your values? Is this a company that you think you'd like to work at? So again, it's about getting in there early and preparing and planning. That pretty much wraps up what I need to say. Lots of information, but my best advice to parents: sit down and have that conversation about careers. Talk to your children and your students about where do they see themselves, what do they want to do, really, and how do they want to engage with their learning. Is college the best thing for them? Are T-levels? What route is the best for them, and what's going to get them out of bed in the morning, what's going to be the most exciting. I started my life as an apprentice, haven't regretted a single second, and I just think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Hopefully a lot of you out there will find the same, and see you all as apprentices. But thank you. If you're a school, a careers teacher, or a parent that would be interested and me maybe talking to you a little bit more, if you'd like me to come and present to parents in the school, if you'd like me to come into an inset day and maybe support your teachers just to give them a little bit more knowledge and information and make them feel a bit more comfortable about the A word, please feel free to contact me. More than happy to come in and do some presentations, or maybe some Q&As to some of the parents when they come in, and say, let's myth bust some of those conversations and bring everybody up to speed on apprenticeships in 2022 and the exciting possibilities. But I'd love to come and see you, I'd love to support you. So yeah, my name's Judith. If you need me, please contact me. I'd love to come and see you.